About a week ago, I made a video about position 5 Visage in the Archon bracket, and with this video I want to prove that that old video was not just an exercise in trench anthropology, but an actual viable build that pro players are at least experimenting with. So let's see how LaNm is going to play this position 5 Visage.
My holiness deepens.
Welcome to the Judge of Obelis. Whatever we see here, he's going for Grave Chill first, which is rather unusual for a position 5 Visage. Usually you go for Soul Assumption, but here in this game he's playing with a Slark in his lane, it's a dual lane, so he's not going to be able to do as much with Soul Assumption because Slark just doesn't do that much damage. So the only way you really get damage for your stacks of Soul Assumption is by taking damage yourself. Whereas Grave Chill is going to allow this Slark to trade better, at least that's the hope. And with that he can get more stacks of his Essence Shift and then hopefully win the lane. Since Visage has used some regen, he's right away throwing himself another Tango. Very important to do that if you know that you're going to run out of regen soon. Might as well just get some Tangos right away. And Slark is trying to trade here together with the slow from Visage, but this cookie is quite strong. The double stun from the Slider Snapfire combination gets the first blood, so right away this lane off to a horrible start. With this first blood it's quite difficult to play this lane because like the Slider and Snapfire combination is quite strong, and now the Slark is going to be at level 1 for a very long time. But the advantage of this is that Visage now gets to be level 2 quite early. And of course he's used Soul Assumption as a second skill, but he's gone far too far forward here and pays with his life. So the Essence Shift stack is about to run out, and now Slider and Snapfire go again. The stuns coming out here, and that is a dead Slark. Visage has got his 3 stacks, but it's not enough to get a kill. So he just saves his mana. And note, by the way, how much regen he's bought here. He's bought actually 2 extra set of Tangos. He's bought some extra mangoes. This is a Visage that's going to get a lot of regen, and this is absolutely essential, otherwise there's just no way you can even try to contest this lane. And we see after these 2 deaths, Slark actually TP top, which is what you want to do. Slark is the hero that really needs to have at least a reasonably decent laning phase, because if you just get killed over and over again, you're gonna reach level 6 really late and you're completely gonna miss your timing. So rather they have put this Legion Commander down here. Legion Commander so far has had not like a free lane, but it's been an even lane at top so far, so she's doing fine. And if you won't have one of your cores suffer, you'd rather have Legion Commander being behind rather than Slark, even though both it's kind of important to have a good laning phase. And Visage is going to try to do some pulling because the lane's quite far forward and you can't really go there even with Legion Commander. But Snapfire disrupting this pull, and Visage still however gets 1 creep here, which is enough to pull this wave in here. So now this wave is going to eventually die to these creeps, but of course Snapfire is going to try to get the last hits if she can. And meanwhile Legion is battling out with this Slider, but of course Slider with double bracers and or Venom is really tough to deal with at this stage of the game. I really like this skill build that LaNm is going here on the Visage. He's gone for this 1-1-1 build. Normally in a lot of games you would want to get second level in Soul Assumption at this point, but since Legion Commander is also one of those heroes that doesn't really have a lot of like initiatory damage of her own, the Soul Assumption is not as strong as it is in most lanes. So you'd rather have this defensive ability of the Gravekeeper's Cloak to save yourself from the damage coming in from Slider and Snapfire. It's also, these heroes don't do that many damage instances, so they don't quickly remove those Gravekeeper's Cloak stacks. So this cloak is actually quite strong here. So right now in the game, top lane is going fairly even, mid lane also going fairly even, and this bottom lane is still a disaster. We're going on Legion here, stunning her, and that is it going to be a kill? She barely escapes here, and thanks to the slow from Visage helping out a little bit here, as well as of course those soul assumptions. And you can see here why it's so important to have mangoes. These spells cost a lot of mana. You definitely need those mangoes. Visage now all on his own, and I think he's a bit too far forward here. In this situation, you probably want to stay very defensive, like somewhere here. As it is, he gets run down here and killed. Because you can't go up here and contest this lane if you're on your own in this lane. That's just not going to happen. At this point, Medusa is just going to jungle here. And this means that there's an empty lane in the middle, which Visage is going to take. If you're playing support Visage, it's very important to actually get your levels up. So whenever there's an empty lane, just sit there, get a couple of levels, and try to get this early level 6. Unfortunately, however, the enemy collapsed onto him, going for him, and he's very low here. But this Monkey King is a bit too far forward here. But with this Snapfire coming in, they're going to nuke down the Skywrath Mage, and down here Visage also in trouble against this Void Spirit. So they get the 2 kills. Again, being into mid lane, you still want to farm this lane. And that's one of the great advantages of being a position 5, is that it doesn't really matter if you die. Like obviously you don't want to die, but if you die it's not nearly as big of a deal as if your core would die. So it's okay to play a bit more risky, to take the more dangerous farm. And as long as you're getting your levels, you're completely fine with dying once or twice in the process. Of course, it's very important to get to level 6 so you can get those familiars. In this game, we see LaNm going for boots of speed and windlays. So usually you would see people delaying boots a bit on Visage, because being mobile is not that important. But the problem in this game is that there's so many heroes that can run you down. Like this Slark can run you down, this Monkey King can run you down. But if you have those boots and windlays, as well as a couple of levels in Grave Chill, this actually allows you to run away from most opponents, and that's why he's going for these mobility items here. Normally you would see Visages go for like at least level 2 or level 3 in Soul Assumption, but here in this game he's just going to stay at level 1. This is an ability that doesn't scale very well. As he comes in here, there's fire, he's going to use his Soul Assumption here when he can, using those 3 charges, but it's just not going to happen here. And this Monkey King is trying to get some sort of kill, but nothing actually happening. Nothing's really dying. The Skywrath died, that's the only casualty of this big fight. But the Radiant get away with this. And meanwhile, they have this Slark taking the tower at top. So definitely here a win for the Radiant team. Finally, we have some birds. So right now, I'm just going to go and farm this camp. And that's okay to do. Just because you're position 5 doesn't mean you're never allowed to farm. You can farm some here and there, and that is precisely what it's going to do. It's actually quite useful to also have some items in your position 5. And this item is going to go for here in this game is going to be a medallion. As they go on the Snapfire here, use the ultimate from our friend Skywrath, and that's an easy kill. And so it's just going to stay in this lane here and pressure this tower. So he's sparing himself extra regen, extra clarities, very important to do in the mid game, as he's pushing this middle lane. And Slark comes in, uses Corrosive Haze on one of these familiars, and has to land them. Now this familiar is still hazed up, has minus 10 armor, so of course take a lot of damage to all these right clicks. And one familiar goes down, the other one survives. And it's all very awkward to have just one familiar, but he almost has a cooldown again. So it's fine. Right now, Shadow Demon is pushing mid lane on his own, and they saw some heroes bot. So they know this is a safe kill here. And because here's still heroes bot, it's a very easy decision here to push the tower in middle. And of course, this is the most important tower in the game. Controls access to Roshan, it controls access to those jungle regions, it protects access to this jungle, so this tower is enormously important. After this tower kill, they go for a smoke right away, and see if they can find some of these heroes that were in the bottom lane here. They find the Snapfire and try to initiate on her with the stun, but Legion Commander now catches her. They get the dual win here. It's a very nice win for them. And now actually we see the Radiant having a slight net worth lead here. Visage has gone for a Medallion of Courage, very smart item choice. Of course, everyone is standard items on Visage, just boost your damage output from your familiars, especially if you choose to go for this much more familiar focused build where it's just basically ignoring Soul Assumption. So this is closer to what you would normally see in a core Visage, but sort of decided to de-emphasize Soul Assumption here in this game. There's a big fight going on. They try to go on Slark, but Slark uses his ultimate to get away. And now it's time to retreat. They have to sacrifice the Skywrath Mage as they're escaping here. But there's Monkey in pursuit. Starter has a Blink Dagger, and Visage is going to die. And lots of napalm damage raining down here. Tries to get these familiars out, flying over the cliff to help save them. And so the familiars survive. And another kill here. So a heavy price being paid here by the Radiant. But in the meantime, Medusa is farming. LaNm is farming the wave with his familiars, but he's not nearby because he's still dead. This is quite risky to do here and actually go on these familiars and kill one of them. The other one is in trouble still, but Medusa comes in and tries to save the familiar, and familiar indeed does get away. It's very important because Visage does not have a resummon yet. So right now they for some reason want to fight here in the Radiant team, so they go in with Slark. Slark tries to find some sort of target, but can't really. Slark gets a very good stomp off here, and Visage trying to stay on the outskirts of this fight so that he can still provide his soul assumptions and keep up his stacks on his cloak. But the Slark is in trouble. He's very low, but doesn't quite get the Void Spirit here. Has to dodge his ability, and Visage now going down. Slark has a lot of stacks, but he's too low to do much, and so he dies. So this was a really disastrous fight here for the Radiant. They lost 4 people against just 1 death here on the enemy team. And I'm honestly not quite sure why they took this fight. This Radiant lineup is like one of the greediest things I've ever seen. Like they have this Medusa who's basically position 1, they have this Slark who's another position 1, and they have this greedy position 3, they have this fairly greedy position 4 in Skywrath, and they have this greedy position 5 in Visage. This is the ultimate late game team that they're running here on the Radiant, so they shouldn't be itching for these mid game fights. For some reason the Radiant really want to fight, so they're trying to find this monkey, but they can't quite fight him. And now Visage just got level 12, so he resummons familiar, so he gets level 2 familiars, and he's going forward here. It's a bit far forward. It's a bit risky to go here near this spot of no vision. They try to get this kill on Shadow Demon, but he's 4 staffed away. And now Medusa has gone on. She's almost out of mana, and uses the stick, but it's not enough. She dies, and these very valuable familiars are still here, still vulnerable. He has to retrieve with them, and tries to go on this Monkey King, but this Monkey King takes almost no damage. And yeah, Visage is just surrounded here by enemies, and he's going to die. All they can do is try to save his familiars, which he does. He tries to help out here, but he sees it's hopeless, so he retreats with familiars. There's nothing you can do here with your familiars, and when you're not nearby, familiars are made out of paper. So if you don't have this aura nearby them, they get killed so quickly. And he tries to go a little bit on this Void Spirit, but he's not low enough to really realistically get a kill. So he has to retreat now. He lands those familiars, and the enemy gathering around here, so you want to run these familiars in opposite directions, which he does. So he tries to run one down here. They stunned him and killed him, but this other one survives. So that's also important. If both the familiars get caught out here, run them in different directions, run them to 2 different nearby high grounds or tree areas to hide them. And gets a glimpse here of them doing Roshan. He flies ready to see how far along they are, but unfortunately this bird is in vision and it gets killed. And now they know that Roshan is underway, so they can go here and contest. Unfortunately, no birds available yet, but Slark emerging here, and they have Medusa coming in front. She's the most tanky. Roshan is killed. Monkey King has to use the Aegis right away, and they will try and kill him again. Nice duel here, and that is a duel win. Very nicely done here from the Radiant. And they're now looking for more. They'll try to see if they can find this Void Spirit. As Visage, you just run behind people and you actually resummon your familiars. Like, this is really bad that he's not summoning his familiar right now. Like, every second you waste means 1 second more of cooldown if they die again. So it's very important to just use this as soon as possible. Doing some dewarding here, doesn't find anything, and he's still not resummoning the familiars. That's really bad. But now they're going to try to get this tier 2 tower, with this Monkey King still being dead for 30 seconds. And Slark comes in here, finds Shadow Demon, and they're not quite getting him yet, but this last shot is going to be enough. Unfortunately though, Slark is also here, able to assassinate Visage. So you have to be very careful with Visage, especially once you lose those Gravekeeper Slark cloaks stacks. You just die so quickly. In this game, LaNm is rushing straight for a Solar Crest. This is a very strong item in this game in particular, because you have two heroes that really benefit from having that item. Slark really benefits from it, as well as Medusa. You have those hyper carries, or just these carries that have to be in the front, and like both Slark and Medusa are kind of like frontliner heroes, so they really benefit from both the attack speed and the armor, as well as of course the movement speed. So Solar Crest is really strong here. In a lot of other games you would maybe just go for the medallion right away and then maybe some other item before going for the crest, but here in this game I think it's generally worth rushing the Solar Crest because it's just so strong. And of course medallion and the Solar Crest also really function well together with Legion Commander. It really helps her win duels, and that's why this item is just so strong, because it synergizes really well with all three of your cores. In this game, Visage has decided to kind of neglect the Soul Assumption, and I'm not sure if I'm happy about this. He's had the Soul Assumption at level 1 for so long, and I feel like you actually want to put in some more points into this if you're playing support, and maybe like keep this Grave at like level 2 or something, or level 3, and put some extra points in the Soul Assumption. Or maybe cut a point here or two on the Gravekeeper Stogora, and just have like at least like 3 points I think in Soul Assumption. You should have that fairly early so that you can just dish out so much more damage with this very powerful nuke in team fights. DotA have just taken the bot tier 1 tower, and they're looking for more here, trying to go on the Shadow Demon, and he just barely survives here. That's unfortunate, so they try to go for the tier 2 tower, but fortification is used, so Millers have to use Stormfall in a very disadvantageous position, and Scarlet Mage gets caught on the side, is killed, so Millers have to retreat. They're quite low, and Visage also, of course, following along, trying to stun here, to keep this ladder in the back for about longer. Picks up a bounty rune, it's nice, but this Visage is kind of all out on his own, and he's going to try to run here together with Grave Chill, and Slark goes in here to try to save Visage, but the problem is now Slark is in big trouble, and he actually dies, gets deleted here, but Visage survives. At least so far they're not chasing him, so I don't know about that move from Slark. He really didn't need to die there, much better just let Visage die. But this way at least Visage can survive, and now he faces the tough challenge here of defending against this push that's coming in with the catapult wave. Still have quite a bit of time to go on this Slark, but at least he has buyback if it's necessary, but of course he wants to save it if possible. Icon push coming in, and very nicely done here from Visage. Just stay back, you use your familiars to fight in aura range, and use those soul assumptions when possible, And right now he took a bit too much damage, lost a couple of Grave Keeper slacks and lost his birds. But you have to be kind of careful not to run this Monkey King ultimate. So they kill Monkey King here, and overall it's a really good defense here. The enemy a bit overplaying their hand here, and now that 4 people are dead, they can try to at least push out those waves. And Scarlet actually has to be home and buys himself Boots of Travel. Scarlet, of course, you have such a big mana pool that it's difficult to refill with just Clarities and so on, so he's going to go for these Boots of Travel here and rejoin the push. The Slark hitting the building here is very safe for him to do. If there's a buyback, he can always back off, but with this you don't actually want to be that far forward because the enemy is going to respawn soon, and the enemy has really good chasing potential. So that's why Visage is kind of keeping back here, and what the Scarlet's doing is also quite risky. He might well die here for this. So like without the Medusa you don't really have that much building damage, so it's kind of difficult to try to go high ground here. And they did get some damage on his towers, which is nice, but the Scarlet now is a bit too far forward and he's trying to save himself with his Ghost Scepter, but that can only save you for so long, and down he goes. It was really a bit overambitious from the Scarlet to TP down here or up there. It was really the right decision from Visage to just stay behind. It was right for a Slark to go and hit those buildings because he's a Slark, he can much easier escape, but for these other heroes you just have to sort of stay behind here and accept that you're not going to get very much during these deaths. Right now Slark is sort of sneakily trying to push the side lane here, trying not to get caught, as Slarks want to do. And meanwhile Visage is just chilling in base. They don't have very much vision of what's going on, and Slark has actually gone on now in the bot lane. He tries to jump away here with his Ags and tries to TP out, but he gets found, he gets stomped, and he gets killed. And meanwhile the Radiant team is actually not helping the Slark. You saw Scarlet trying to use Boots of Travel here to come here, but then he decided otherwise, and instead of trying to help this Slark, they're just going to see if they can find this Monkey King. They saw him up here earlier, so they know he's somewhere in the area, so they find him. He has the Aegis, but he's all on his own. Aegis gets popped, and the team of course tries to save him because he has the Aegis. But they can find this monkey again using Duel, as well as Scarlet Ultimate of course, but Shadow Demon here tries to save the day. Visage staying here on the outskirts of the fight, using his Solar Crest always, and this way they can win this fight. So the enemy team had to come in one by one, and this way they always had the upper hand in this fight and are able to now push this base. They have 4 heroes alive. Slark is still dead for a long time, but it's now 4 versus 1, so they can go in, and there's actually no buybacks here on the DotA team. So I mean, they have buyback and Snapfire, that's the only one they have, but that's not the buyback that matters, so they can just go and hit this tower. Visage, of course, you want to use Solar Crest on Medusa on cooldown. Medusa is actually, after that one fight, finished her Divine Rapier. Sort of the trend in recent days for Medusa to get like 2 or 3 big items and then go for the Rapier. This way, of course, you do a lot of damage, and they took on the first lane of racks, taken on the second lane of racks, and now they're almost respawning, so I see it's time to back off. There's not enough time to take this throne or something. They can't get Nagas because there's a tier 2 here, so this is the correct choice. This range track doesn't matter too much. They got their 2 melee racks, that's the important part, and now they're getting out with a big advantage. Visage is doing some mild rewarding here as he gets gone on by the Slaughter. Doesn't quite manage to get off his Glimmer Cape, so he dies here. Big chaotic fight going on. There's no buyback on Visage. Monkey Ultimate being used. He tries to use BKB as well. Medusa, thanks to the mobility that Spider Legs provide her, can easily get away here. They however do lose 2 heroes here, and it's not looking too good for the Radiant right now, because they're down 2 heroes that both don't have buyback. But the saving grace here is that they have these 2 lanes pushing in, so a Monkey can actually have to TP back to defend his base, so they can't really continue this push. And this is going to give the Radiant time to respawn. They find the enemy invading their outpost, so they go in here, Slark jumping in with his LaNms, and this is a very favorable fight here. They have the numbers advantage here, and the enemy has to flee. They try to chase people down here. They get this Void Spirit as the first kill, and now they're gonna try to find more, but so far no luck. So they're gonna try to push out those waves and convert this Void Spirit kill into a forced buyback or maybe more. So Archon push is coming in. They have Slark pushing in the top lane, and they actually get a kill here. And right now it's on the high ground. As Visage, you just want to be careful with your familiars, keep them at a safe distance, so not too far away, not too close, and just stay behind here, behind the main fighting, so that you can keep your stacks up. You could be using this familiar a bit more aggressively, just hit this building and just use your familiars, hit buildings, and then use your soul assumption a bit more. But they easily win this fight, and now it's onto the tier 3s, and there's going to be the end of the game. So here in this game you saw how you can really support this greedy lineup with a Visage, really enable your cores with those defensive items, with that solar crest, and ride that to victory. And you can see that even if you have a bad start as Visage, you can easily come back and provide a lot of value to your team. Down in the comment section, tell me what you think about position 5 Visage. Do you think it's viable? Do you think it's a very niche thing? And please subscribe to this channel for more coverage on Visage, on Chen, Lone Druid, various other micro heroes. And I'll leave you with these other Visage games, and Obelisk willing, I'll see you there.